Alright everybody, this is Eternal Blade here and welcome to a new tutorial. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of decorative design work. I've got a nice little glass dragon lined up for us. It should be pretty cool to do, a bit more organic than some traditional things that I do, but it should be a lot of fun. This is something that my girlfriend actually picked up for me in China, so it's pretty authentic, you could say. So I guess without further ado, we're going to hop right in. And before I forget, here is the Imager album to get these 3 images, so you can look at them as well. I took them right here on my desk, so I know they're hot off the press and ready to go. I'll also try to put a link in the description if I remember and or in the video. I don't want to save changes to that. I would recommend just having these images open on the side, and you're going to want to download this one right here. So kind of blow it up, save image as. Go into your projects folder and let's type in glass dragon, new folder, reference images, and we're just going to call this glass dragon side. There we go. Now that we've got that, we are going to want to create a plane here in the left hand viewport. And by the way, I'm using 3ds Max 2014 64-bit. But if you're using any other version, this should work perfectly fine. I'm not going to be using any new features, just straight up polygon modeling. So what we're going to want to do here is go into our material editor by pressing M, and let's create a V-Ray material. And that is, to create a V-Ray material, you've got to go to your rendering engine here by clicking on the little render setup button, assign renderer, and change this to V-Ray Advanced. 2.4 is what I'm currently using. I'm going to save those as my defaults. A few other things you want to do is just make this dynamic memory limit 1 GB below your maximum RAM. So I have 32 gigs, so I'm going to set that at 31. And I like to have my render region set at 32. And we can just turn indirect illumination on for now, irradiance map, and light cache. But we're not going to be using those very much until the end. So, going back into our materials here, by pressing M, create a V-Ray material. Just click and drag it out. And in the diffuse map, we're going to want to use a standard bitmap. Navigate over to your projects folder, and navigate to your glass dragon. And there we go. So you see this image is, let's see, 2688 by 1520. Just reading that right over here. I wrote it down just because I'll forget. Okay. Double click on the bitmap and hit this show shaded material in viewport. And it'll turn kind of red and green to show you that it's going to be the one displaying. Now just drag it over and plop it on. Okay. Push M to get rid of your material editor. Go over here and push F3, and now you can see we have our image here. So in our plane, I'm currently in inches, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to set the length to, well, actually I'm going to customize unit setup, and we're just going to use the generic unit. Doesn't really matter. Okay. So the length, which is going to be this way, we're going to set that at, let's see, 1520, and the width we're going to set it at 2688. Oops. There we go. Now we have a huge image of our dragon here. And now we can pretty much start modeling. Again, I have these other images pulled up over the side here, just so I can, reference them. And I also have the physical object in front of me, which does make it a bit easier. So I'll be able to describe any little intricacies that I see. Alright, so I guess we're going to get started here. We're going to start with a good old box. So on our left hand viewport, let's, I guess we'll just start right here. There we go. Create a box about that big. Now, it's pretty much like a cylinder. So in our perspective view here, let's actually move this back a little bit. There we go. We're going to want to have it to where the width this way is almost the exact same as the length. Maybe just a little bit less. Okay, there we go. Next, let's convert this to an editable poly. You can do that one of two ways. I have mine bound to the hotkey Control-Alt-Q, or you can simply right-click on your object and go to Convert to Editable Poly. I would suggest binding Control-Alt-Q to convert to editable poly. It does make things a lot easier. All right, press 1 to go into your vertex sub-object mode. Excuse me. And let's just start kind of playing with these vertices here. So we're just trying to do this, and actually what we can do here is change this to shaded. That'll get rid of the little shadow there. Okay, there we go. And let's go here and let's begin. So just take this and extrude, and just give it an extrude. Try to keep the segments about as even as possible. It'll really help us when we're maneuvering. And by the way, to move, I'm just pushing W on the keyboard. And that pretty much moves the stuff that we have. Okay. Let's extrude again. All right. Move that here. Move this down here. All right. We're going to have to do a few connections, so we'll just carry on with the body for now. Extrude. And bring it down. Okay. Let's extrude it again. Okay. Now what we're going to want to do here is kind of curve around the legs. So we can actually kind of make this a bit less curved. Okay, there we go. And oops, extrude. There we go. Just kind of following an imaginary curve, you know, kind of swooping down here. You can almost see where the shadow is. So we're just going to do that. Maybe make a couple right there. Okay. So we'll just bring this over here. And bring that here. And this one down a little bit. Alright, there we go. And let's see. Extrude again. Let's try to make the bottom a bit wider now. And the top a bit skinnier. Okay. And extrude. W, shift it up. I'm getting pretty excited. I'm actually going on a backpacking trip tomorrow. We're going to, I think it's Wasita Trail or something in Oklahoma. So that should be a blast. I'm looking forward to that. Little break from the actual work, which is always a well-needed thing. Alright. I'm trying to see here. It looks like the tail, actually, we're just going to model this center part for now. So let's go do that. Alright, how am I going to do this? Maybe we'll come up here. Alright, so extrude one more time. So I get to see the great outdoors and just relax, kind of get away from my computer for a bit. Not something that you usually get to do, but it is always nice when it occurs. Alright, there we go. Oops, extrude. Maybe, okay, good. I just had that kind of brief moment where you think, wow, I wonder if I'm actually recording this or if I'm just talking to myself. Because it has happened before where you just kind of keep talking and then you forget what's happening, and then an hour later you realize you didn't actually record anything, and then you feel kind of stupid actually. You sometimes wonder to yourself, why would you ever do that? Alright, there we go. And extrude again. Give it one more, and then a little one at the end. There we go. So, line these puppies up. There we go. I think we're getting somewhere. But we will find out over time. Okay, and bam. There we go. Look at that. That's beautiful right there. That's what that is. Okay. Now what we're going to do is a little bit of squishing. So, the tail here is from right about here. It's a bit squished in, so we're going to push R and just kind of scale it in like so. There we go. And we're actually going to apply a turbo smooth. One iteration is good. That way you can just see the kind of topography we're getting on our actual dragon here. So we know we're doing good. Okay. And then this, let's see, right about at the end of this one, so this one right about here kind of widens back just so it meshes in there. Okay. And now let's take this polygon and this polygon and maybe even this one, and we'll extrude these like so. Okay. And line these up with this fin over here. I think we're actually gonna undo that, and we're gonna just do these two. Although the image does show that many, I think our topology will be a little bit better if we do it this way. So we're just gonna kind of go up and do our own thing. We're just using the image as a reference anyway, so it's not like we need it to be perfect by any means. Alright, let's extrude those again. There we go. And just kind of keep climbing and curving around. I'll try to make these flat if possible, or if not exactly flat, make them squarish. Alright, there we go. And repeat. It's supposed to rain when we go camping, or backpacking, which is going to kind of suck, but with luck, the weather will clear up and we'll have some fun. I think we're looking forward to some instant mashed potatoes, some beans, maybe a couple of eggs if we can throw it in. So yeah, I definitely suggest, when you're doing 3D work a lot, I mean, I don't do it a lot exactly, but I enjoy doing it. But when you are doing it a lot, or just staring at your computer in general, always, get up, take a break, do something, whether it's watch me model or, go watch some TV, go for a walk, go make dinner, make me dinner if you really want to do something. I wouldn't mind. But just, keep your spirits up. You don't want to just do something that you're not having fun doing, and it sometimes can get a little tedious. It's not all fun and games as I may make it seem. All right, there we go. And just Alt W just to see what we've got. That looks pretty damn good, if I do say so myself. Okay. Now what we're gonna do here is go back into our 4 view, press Q, press 1 and just select these vertices here. Okay, and these we're just going to make the same size as the other ones, so just like that. Alright, so you see we shrunk them down there, and apparently we shrunk the top a little more. I don't know how we managed that, but we'll open it back up. There we go. And let's see here. We're just going to manually adjust some of these. Okay, just kind of shrink them in. And these, there we go. So now when we turbo smooth it, this is what we get. Nice finished look. And actually we are going to kind of scale these in a bit more. I guess I was right the first time I did it. So don't question yourself. When you think you got something going, just kind of stick with it. I remember way back in middle school, my teacher in math class told me something I didn't really forget called stick-to-itiveness. I believe it is a good practice. So just stick to what you're doing and don't really worry about anything else. Because in the end, it'll probably come out pretty damn good. Not to say it'll always come out good, but you know, most of the time. Okay. Let's see here. I guess now we can work on the bottom little piece. So go to your polygons here. Select this one and this one. And extrude these out. We're going to pretty much do the exact same thing. So push 1 and just start throwing some polygons out there. You know, for these big shapes, you can really make, you know, big, you know, swooping extrusions. Because honestly, when you're doing something fluid like this, you want to have as little geometry as possible because the turbo smooth is very, very tricky, and it'll try to ruin whatever you do if you have too much resolution in your mesh. That's one of the problems I have. I like doing a lot of mechanical stuff, you know, solid shapes, you know, really well-defined shapes. And when I go to turbo smooth them, sometimes they don't do exactly what I want them to do. And then I get mad at them. And then, you know, it just goes downhill from there very fast. Because then I get depressed, and then I want to eat food, and that means I have to cook, and then I get more depressed, and then it's just, you know, a slippery slope. You got to watch out for those things. But you know, today was a good day. I made some tacos. I had some hard shell tacos. They were delicious. You know, might not have been much meat, beans, and cheese, but it certainly is kind of, you know, soul food. Just feels good to eat. You know, kind of wonder what you guys like to eat. You know, maybe there's some type of, you know, deep or fried chicken, or maybe it's, I don't know, fajitas or enchiladas, or, you know, maybe you like curry. But there's all sorts of cool foods out there that you can try, should you ever want to. And in fact, I want to try some food right now, but I can't because I'm modeling. So if my choices are to try food or model, well, you guys are probably out of luck. I'm probably just going to try some food. Let's just take these here and, wow, that's interesting. Deselect these top ones right here. There we go. And scale these in. Alright. And scale these in. Cool. Take these and scale these in a little bit more. Maybe take these ones and just scale them kind of, you know, halfway in between. There we go. Now we got some cool little dragon tail going on. Okay, that's James Bond, but it's kind of like Dragon Tail, I think. I've never actually seen Dragon Tail. I think it's a kid's show. No, that's Puff the Magic Dragon, which I think it's supposed to be a kid's show. never understood if it was actually, you know, kid-friendly or not. I feel like puffing a magic dragon is kind of, you know, a little outside of most children's scope. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy doing his thing, doing some modeling. Alright, there we go. So now we've got the end nice and fixed up. And we can go all in through all this, and maybe we're actually going to make it a little bit skinnier. So I think these are, our dragon's a little thin. Alright. Bring these in. And maybe bring these ones in a little bit. Gonna model a dragon from Puff the Magic Dragon. Alright. And I think kind of want to bring these verts in a little more too. There we go. Just trying to look, you know, look a little bulgy. Alright, let me take a look at my dragon thing. That's looking pretty good, if I do say so myself. I think we're going to take these ones and these ones and maybe scale them in a bit. Okay, so phone calls do disrupt the flow. So there we go. Looks pretty good. So I guess now we can work on a few of its legs. Yes, we will make it walk. So for the legs, let's see how we're gonna do this. They kind of come out of the side. So we're gonna click this, control click, shift click. That'll select everything here. Connect. We're just gonna put one segment right in there. Let's see kind of what any havoc this wreaked. Alright, we can adjust some of our things later. So polygon. And let's see, the leg kind of comes out of these two, I think. Maybe this one. And man, it's not phone calls, it's Skype messages. I just can't win. Okay. So what we're actually going to do here is push Alt X to make it a little bit see-through. And man, I wish it was a little more see-through. Man, people, look at this. People are wildly Skyping me. Maybe the leg is this fat. It is kind of a fat leg. Okay, so we're gonna extrude this. Okay. Digital poly and Alt X again. And go into our vertices here. And we kind of need to, let's see. I'm gonna say maybe bring these down. Okay, so just kind of drag these a bit down. Drag this one down. And in our front view here, yeah, we can just look and play with some of these. Maybe drag them halfway down. Okay, we're just trying to, you know, create a way for the leg to merge in with the rest of the model. Alright. That looks pretty good. Alright, so people keep Skyping me. Apparently Reaper of Souls for Diablo 3 comes out tomorrow. I pre-ordered it, but I won't be able to play it because I'm going to be backpacking, or driving actually, preparing to backpack. Which is a little bit disheartening because I kind of want to play it now. Okay, so we have a conundrum here in that these little vertices need to move inward, like so. Because our leg kind of comes out of all of these things. Okay, so now we're going to take all of these polygons and extrude them out. Okay, now what we can do is kind of give them a, oops, well, control click the vertices here, and actually we'll just manually position these in a kind of semi leg shaped pattern. I'm just trying to follow this general guideline here, and we'll see how well it works. I don't have high hopes for it. Okay, and just bring them in. Kind of give it little fat thighs. Alright, and take these and move them down. Got to keep the directions flowing as uniform as possible. Alright, kind of bring them back to even them out. And drag them downward. There we go. It's not looking so bad. Or at least it could be worse. Alright, so let's take these and actually I think we're going to select these and move them a bit more that way. Just want to see what the turbo smooth looks like. Make sure we haven't royally killed anything, and that still looks pretty good. Okay. So back into our polygons here. Alright, and let's extrude them again. Alright, right to the base of the foot here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of scale them a little bit so we get a, a foot shape. Maybe rotate them just a bit. Okay, there we go. You'll just see it'll kind of shore it up. Okay. Now what we can do is, let me see here. We'll make another little extrude like that, and then we'll make the base of the foot. So that's what we have. Kind of blockish. So let's take these polys, press W, and just move them there. You can see where you need your manual adjustments here. Okay. Oops. There we go. And wow, we need to do a few over here as well. Alright, there we go. And you just kind of pull these around. Okay, that looks decent enough. Maybe we're gonna round these off by putting them in the corners. Alright, now it looks like they have one toe on the back, and the actual foot is kind of off-centered a little bit, so we're gonna try to make a toe shape. Let's connect all these once. Okay, we're just trying to follow the thickness of about this. So take our toe polygon, just give it 1 and 2. Alright, and then move them generally into position. Do some scaling here. And then one last extrude should do it. Okay, scale, and there we go. So let's take all of these vertices and make sure we got them all selected on the bottom there, and just flatten them like that. Okay, and what we want to do is kind of raise the interior of the toe a bit, kind of like a curved claw, and maybe curve it out a bit. So come over here and give it a bit more of an outer curve. Rotate it a bit that way. There we go. And that should do nicely. See how that looks. Okay, we can adjust the sizes later. And let's see, it's got 3 front toes, and handily enough we have 3 of these. So go to extrude, and you want to go to by polygon. There we go. Now we've got 3 toes, and let's just extrude them all. 1, 2, wow. Well, we'll do that one later. So 1, 2, and 3 for now. So go into our vertex mode here and just scale these down a bit. Move them into place. Rotate them if you need to. There we go. I don't feel, bad to mess up your mesh a little bit. Its life goal is to be maneuvered by your hand. Alright, and there we go. Just drag these out. Scale them in a bit, and polygon extrude. Alright, and these actually kind of get a little bit bigger here. And the last thing we're going to do here is bevel them. There we go. Now, probably looks pretty terrible. Actually, it doesn't look that bad, remarkably. Okay. Next, we have to adjust them in the other views, so let's take all of these and none of those. Okay, go, and simply bring them off to the side here. So push E and rotate it a bit. And actually, let's see, maybe scale's probably fine. Turbo smooth. See how it looks. And that's too big, so we're gonna shrink that one down a bit. So select all the polygons. This toe, I guess, is actually a little shorter than the other ones. Okay. And let's select these two and just bring them up a little bit. Okay, this one, kind of raise it off the floor, and the same with these two. Raise them off the floor a bit. Next, let's, select these, and you can, I'm trying to figure out why we're kind of odd shaped here. So let's drag that inward, and just select all these, E, give them a little bit of a rotate. Because it looks kind of funny. W. There we go. Okay. And that does not look half bad. Because remember, this thing's actually probably, you know, it's a little tiny thing, so you're going to be kind of viewing it from out here. Although maybe it does need to be shrunk even a bit more than that. So maybe we'll just give it a little bit more shrinkage. Okay. Kind of bring the toes in just a bit. All right, there we go. Next, let's work on the other toe. Also go to your vertex mode here. And let's just select those. Kind of move it up. And this toe kind of curves to the left. So we're gonna rotate our stuff to show that. Okay, there we go. Let's see how that looks. That's pretty good. Maybe this end is a little bit skinnier than on the other ones. Alright, there we go. In fact, I think I like that look better, even though on the actual physical thing, it looks a bit fatter. I'm not a big fan of the fat look. So we're just going to shrink both those down. There we go. And we're going to make some alterations to the base of our toe. Namely, these few polygons here. What are we going to do with them now? We need to move them outward a bit. So push W, kind of drag them a bit, push R, and scale them a bit outward. Maybe we'll just move them a bit outward. Okay, there we go. And take these two and drag them in. Okay, do our turbo smooth. There we go. And maybe these three, we'll drag them even a bit farther. just appropriately. And actually, maybe these couple need to come out a little more too. Maybe like that. There we go. Well, that's pretty good. So we're just giving our dragon some claws here. Alright, final toe. Vertex. And what we're going to want to do here is kind of give it a bit of a foot pad almost. Because it looks like this entire area almost comes out on our model. So we're going to take all of these and drag it out. Alright. And then we're going to control click the vertices here and drag them out a bit farther like that. This will kind of lean the foot out to one side. And then what we're going to want to do is take all of these vertices right here and maybe drag them down just a bit. So maybe select the entire portion of this leg. There we go. R and oops. Scale it inward and kind of drag it down to one side. Okay. And let's also click and shift click. Oh, come on, why doesn't this ever want it to? There we go. Wow, that's unique. It's like we're missing, oh, interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a square. Huh. Okay, well, click and shift click, loop, oops, connect, sorry, push R and scale that inward. Alright, someone messaged me, sup. Alright, there we go. Now we want to focus on making it a bit more, how should we say, less square-like. So let's try to bring some of these verts in here. Okay. And we're just kind of working on, you know, whatever we feel like, really. Doesn't have to be a specific portion of the model or anything like that. Because when you work on what you want to work on, things seem to turn out a lot better for some reason. And while it may not be a scientific proven fact, I pretty much guarantee you that it's the best way to work. Alright. Last few little things over here. There we go. And there we go. Now our leg's a lot less kind of squarish. I do think we need to work on the transition a bit more. So we're going to take these three and just drag them up. There we go. That'll create a smoother transition into where the leg segments in. And then we want to get rid of this weird little kind of add-on thing. So click these, kind of bring them out, bring these ones back in towards the body, and kind of scoot this one in as well. You won't really be able to see these too much, but still important. Okay. There we go. Now let's finally get back to this toe. F3, and it kind of goes to here. So we're going to give it one. Whoa. Okay. Let's go back on to by group. There we go. So Control click W and just drag it out. This kind of curves a little bit outward. So just drag it to where you think it needs to be. Extrude. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of go to local. That way we can rotate it on the actual polygons axis. And change this to local. Okay. And that has got to be a view, unfortunately. Alright. So I think we're going to finish up this foot, and then the rest will be in another part, as is my habit to do so. Kind of like to break things up into manageable chunks. Alright, and finally we're just going to bevel it inward and move it down. There we go. And so now we have our other toe, and wow, that's really, really skinny. So we need to do some adjustments here. Let's select all of these and that one, and bring it way over here. Okay. Let's adjust some of these. Just gonna make our toe have some actual, fat on it. We don't want a skinny toe. Skinny toes are bad toes. Let's see how that looks. It's actually not half bad. Now what we need to do is flatten it, because I didn't think about this, but we were modeling it at a perspective, which means it needs to be flat for here. So we cannot have it floating off. It's got to be kind of, here-ish. Alright, we're just going to adjust these one at a time. Okay, and drag this back down. There we go. And if you want, you can do a little cleanup here. Just realign some of your polys. Alright. And actually, this probably does need to go back over there. There we go. And that looks pretty good. That's almost exactly what it looks like in my hand. We're gonna bring these in just a bit more. Try to create an almost straight line pointing towards the back foot, or the back talon. There we go. And that, I think, will probably be the completion of the first part. Maybe actually a little bit more adjustment here. I still feel like it needs to be a bit wider. There we go. Maybe increase the size of this one a bit. Alright. Doesn't look half bad. Alright. That'll be it for part 1, and in part 2 we'll continue on probably modeling the other foot. So make sure you like and subscribe my videos and come back and check out part 2. Thank you for watching.